the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes. Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vane, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech Football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Rick Watson's got the mic, he's the big dog king. Cover sports so sharp, it's a New River thing. Virginia Tech fire, rapid pride too. Every stat, every play, he's bringing it to you. He's got that voice, deep as a valley, breaking it down, no dilly, no dally. Big dog sports talk, feel the bark. He's got the scoop, faster than a sprint. Calling plays like a coach, every word's a hint. From the courts to the fields, the stories unfold. Rick's play-by-play, worth its weight in gold. With a laugh and a growl, he'll pull you in. Big Dog's podcast, let the games begin. Big Dog Sports Talk, feel the bark, feel the bite. Every day, every night, from the Hokies to the Highlanders. He's got the spark. Big Dog Sports Talk, lighten up the dark.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? It's a Tuesday. See, hello Tuesday. That means it's Tuesday. If it were a different day, it would say hello the other day. Everybody's doing well. Appreciate you joining us. From the Family Fencing Studios, live here in Reiner. Coming up at 7:10-ish. Brian Siegler from the Boundary Corner. The BOV met yesterday. Talk about that a little bit. Sure he'll want to talk some tech recruiting. Coach Elmo is going to join us around 7:30, and then Mike Burnham here today. Good morning, Prometheus. What is going on, Morris? Morris already in chat without an opener. Wow. Good morning, T-Bird. Yeah, great stuff. Keep in mind, you can always easily go and find any show you missed in the archives of the YouTube channel because we get a lot of rewatches. We get a whole lot of folks who are putting it on later, and then they watch throughout the day. That's one of the things that YouTube has been the most impressed with the program is the fact that, hello, Lily, how are you? Subscribe and like and share. That's one of the good things about of all the things that we've got going for us here. That's one of the things that they like the most. So, yeah. Good stuff. Thanks again to Family Fencing. Get a free quote today, 540-200-8294. Thanks to Brandon at Top Shelf Apparel, 4377 Lee Highway. You know, they are the folks who took care of our T-shirts. If you want a T-shirt, hit me up. DM me. Or you can send me a message on the text line. That's what they look like. Beauteous. Summertime now. You want that? You're going on vacation. Take that around and say, hey, I listen to this sometimes in the morning. Yeah, exactly. See there? That's marketing. If Vic were here, he'd be proud. NRB Super Bowls, we're going to do our bash coming up here in a few weeks, 540-382-5525. Make sure you check them out for Midnight Madness over the weekend. It turns into a big old after dark party. They turn the lights off, glow in the dark bowling. And trust me, when we do our bash, we will be doing the glow in the dark bowling. Oh, yes, we will. And if Morris has his way, we'll be doing our glow in the dark drinking. Sundown Electric, one of the most reputable businesses in the area down in Elliston. The Smith brothers continuing what their father has built. Not one negative review. Insane. Clear communication. They're honest, and they also try to keep pricing down. You have to hesitate to reach out to Sundown. Hey, that was a rhyme. Oh, my God. It just flows, doesn't it? ReadySetFun.com with Bob Chris, BOBCRST11 at Gmail. Send him a Gmail if you have an organization, school group, whatever. For instance, Floyd County Softball has used Ready Set Fun the last 2 years. They raised $4,000 last year in 5 days. This year, they raised $4,300. That's pretty good. Professional Door Incorporated, residential commercial garage doors, family owned and operated 38 years. In July, it'll be their 39th year in business. How about that? 391-0788, the text line, and Travis and Professional Doors text line is always popping. My bank, National Bank, member FDIC, should be your bank. It's the show's bank. Larry Ramsey and Company. I just refinanced everything through them, and it was wonderful. The rates are great. They made a very, what could be on the surface, painful experience, painless, thanks to Jamie and everybody down at the Radford branch. The absolute best. BDST Fan Question of the Week brought to you by the attorney Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street, Trust and Estate Planning. We need a question. What's our question this week? Come on, peeps. Help me out. Got to have a question posted today. Give people a few days to vote on it. Let's go. Come up with a question. We trust you. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Charles Lee and Company, the absolute best at what they do. And now, hopefully, we have some chilly nights, which is great, by the way. These evenings are beautiful. I'm not going to complain. Warmer days, but get your area units serviced if you need. Reach out to Charles. They are the best. And another company that works very hard to keep things priced low. Big Dog Sports Talk brought to you, presented every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet and Tim Miller and all the great things that they have going on. Mark Hunley, McClellan Chiropractic. He is the best body fixer in the area. 155 Walters Drive in Christiansburg. Go see him. Tell him you heard us talking about him. Mark wants to take care of you. He's terrific. And Lawson's Mobile Home Supply has been the place to go to for manufactured home parts such as windows, doors, plumbing supplies, installation, 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Give James Lawson a call today at 540-381-8011 as we take care of some business. There we go. From the internet, I read Rokovich's response letter to Scamberger. There were over 50 eyes in his literary clinic that read like a novelist's murder. BDST is live, people. Good morning, Matthew. So Rokovich was not at the BOV yesterday. There was a lot of speculation would he show up. He was not there. because he's all about Virginia Tech and not about, I guess, putting on a show like that. So there's going to be a lot of behind the scenes. Things have been very quiet since he was fired from his position. So it was an interesting whirlwind of about 48 hours down at Virginia Tech. And all it was breaking when I was sitting on stage with James Franklin last Thursday at the Montgomery County Chamber event at Warm Hearth. And you just wonder how much they may have known. I'm wondering, too. I think that may have been, they probably found out Wednesday night because they were down in Richmond. It makes sense. And then they shortened it as maybe they were driving there throughout the afternoon. Kind of makes sense now. Good morning, Opal. The First Lady of Chat is back. And we love it when you're here, Opal. We all miss you when you're not here. Glad Prometheus' wife's doing better. Glad Big Al's wife's doing okay. Everybody having surgery and coming out of it fine. That's what we want to hear. Awesome. Next week, I'll be on my honeymoon. I know. So we will have shows, but they will be older shows, okay? I'll remind people that these will be re-airings. And I think Monday's show, we always do. And when you throw in all the shorts that I added, we've had over 1,800 views of yesterday's show with Marty and Rags. And I will probably at some point, I'll probably re-air that one on Monday since it ran on Monday. There was some really good stuff. There was a lot of, I don't know, it was great. They're all great, but this one had a lot more energy. You could tell Marty was really, and Coach, I don't know how Coach does it. And what I love hearing the most about when Coach is on, did you hear how many times he said how much he loves this, being on in this format? And I know it's because of Marty, and being here and talking about his coaching days. The passion is still there. You talk about finding certain people that are doing exactly what they're called to do in life. There's no doubt that Steve Ragsdale, in terms of being a teacher, a coach who's also a teacher, he dedicated his life to that. And his father, that family, just awesome stuff. But I've gotten a ton of response on the professional door text line, man. People were just like, man, that was great. Man. One texter didn't leave his name, so he's already watched it like 3 times. That was great. Just let Creed fill in while you're out. What would be entertaining is if you had like the camera while he was out and you could give him a kitty cam and he could just show you how he goes about his Wild Kingdom performances. It's not a bad idea, Matthew. No, he had been asked. This was actually his 3rd term, Prometheus, but he was asked to serve it. He didn't do it on his own. And I think there's where the gray area lies with all of this. So if people are trying to come up with reasons, then that means they've been instructed to do so. But, it all looks pretty – people are trying to say that he was violating the term limits, but I believe the school, on their own accord, asked him to stay on as rector for a 3rd year, is my understanding. Now, I may be completely wrong, and I'll ask Brian. I'm sure he'll know. But I'm pretty sure that's what I read on all that. So it's going to be interesting how all this plays out. I believe one domino is going to fall sooner than later with Virginia Tech athletics leadership. I can say that with a lot of confidence. Matthew, Nick Spurs, who cares, for the question of the week. Morris says, how about, will Rogovich legally battle? I think he's going to battle. Yeah, I think he's going to sue. Yeah, it looks like he will. He's a lawyer. He doesn't have to go to someone else to check the books, right? He knows them himself. So we'll see. We'll see what he finds. And because he loves Tech so much, he might just go out. He might just decide to go out and end it. I don't know. No idea. But good stuff popping up all over the place yesterday as a result of Marty and Rags. That was a good conversation. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. We haven't had that. I don't know. It was just something about it. If you were there, you saw it. It was cool. And you could see it. Marty pointed out Coach Ragsdale's eyes. He was fired up yesterday. Thank you, Opal. I appreciate that. Cajun girl from Louisiana. It's lived up here for a while. Yeah, the after the first marriage didn't take. It was 14 years. It wasn't like it was a hit and run. I had 3 wonderful children out of it. I said this was never going to happen again. Right? It's never going to happen again. But you meet the right person, somebody that you kind of realize, hey, you know what? This is kind of effortless, right? This is kind of the way it should be. So yeah, that's going to happen. Some sad news to pass away. I want to talk about this early. We lost Kurt Newsom yesterday. Was on the show many times. First run of the radio show. Just an endearing man. One hell of a football coach. He was at Tech, James Madison, of course, Emory and Henry. Across high school football everywhere. He's got his thumbprint on football in the Commonwealth. He dedicated his life, as the Tech obit said, to the mentoring of student athletes and building programs. And he will be missed. Kurt Newsom passed away. He was born in 1958 and passed away yesterday. And anybody who knew Coach Newsom, well, he's just a hell of a dude. I know it's really affected Brian Stein Spring down at Roanoke. Just a sad day. A sad day. And I saw Tyrod Taylor was really emotional about it on X with the post that he made. He was very close to Kurt Newsom. And he was one of the good ones, peeps. If you were lucky enough to meet him, to talk to him, you would and you probably already knew just watching interviews and the way he handled himself on the sidelines. Just a really, really good dude. And he will be missed, and may he rest in peace. So I thought this was interesting, and I have a theory, and I want to get your take. So yesterday, the official 26-27 college football playoff. Let me get rid of the bot here. He's kind of become annoying. Thank you. So they released the college football playoff. Thank you so much, Morse. Yeah, Jambalaya girl. I hope so. Cheers to that. We all need that. We're going to, by the way, people are asking already on the text line, going to Emerald Island off the coast of Carolina. I've never been there. A lot of people that I know have been there say it's great. It's kind of more of I won't say obsolete, but it's not like the absolute hell Myrtle Beach has turned into. So that's where she wanted to go. So that's where we're going. That's where we're going. Wayne not here. Question of the day. Question of the day. Look at that. Wayne is here in presence. He got me that. Yeah, that's the new official BDST drinking glass now that I'm to water and I'm down 11 pounds. See, look at this. Yeah, look at that. That's how I'm judging on most days. Look at that. I mean, that's a lot of room in there. I mean, you could get James Mansfield in this thing. Yeah, we'll get to that, Richie. BDST legal counsel. Richie Davis. All right, well, let's just do it now. The Cleveland Browns. Now, there's a cope out there. We'll get to this thing about the college football playoff because I have a theory and I want your take. So there are people that are, okay, the Browns did not hire the coach. We said this to our credit, and David Smith and I had talked about it. Is Wayne going to give me away? Yes, he will. He's going to show up in a Bigfoot costume. And yesterday, the Browns traded Myles Garrett, the best he might be the best overall player in the NFL. I know for sure he's the best defensive player in the NFL. And they get a number 1 pick. They get the Verse kid, the Browns, who's a promising young end, but he is nowhere near what Myles Garrett is. The all-time legitimate sack leader now for a season. And he just wreaks havoc on every game plan. I think, in my opinion, even though it's a different position, there have probably only been 4 or 5 guys who affect the game like Lawrence Taylor did. Now, nobody's ever going to be better at defensive football in the NFL than Lawrence Taylor. He set a standard that is, I think, unapproachable. But Myles Garrett is probably the biggest disruptor of anybody in the middle of a defensive line in the league since, guess what? The Rams had Aaron Donald. They just got Aaron Donald. And a more athletic, it's just hard to say because Aaron Donald was a freak, but this guy takes it to a different level. And I've seen all this cope. Well, the Browns did really well. Browns get a number 1 pick. The Rams have never cared about their number 1 picks over the last 7 or 8 years. They want to get Matthew Stafford another Super Bowl. They want another Super Bowl. You look at their window now. I understand it's been really good news on Puka Nacua. He had to go to rehab for a substance abuse problem. I hear that's gone well. He's going to be ready for camp. Good for him. He should never be ashamed of that, and nobody should ever try to hold that against him. Everybody has their stuff. Good for him for getting help, much like Dak Prescott did. And the Rams are absolutely loaded. And you get this guy in there, and what this does, too, to the Rams, it tells every player, whether they're young, whether they're in the middle part of their career or more veteranish, that this organization believes in us. They're going for it. So when they show up for training camp and they look over and see number 95, that changes the whole vibe to a team that already had a championship vibe to it. That organization, they seem to do this a lot, right? And all this crap about, they're really sacrificing their future. The Rams don't care. They're trying to win right now. They're the complete what I wish the Broncos would have done. The Broncos cleared all this money. They finally got rid of the horrible dead cap space from Russell Wilson. They didn't do a damn thing to help their football team free agency. Not one. And they didn't draft anybody who's going to come in and be a difference maker. The team basically was status quo, added some depth. The Rams said, no, we didn't like the fact that somebody from our division who we played better than anybody else in the playoffs won the Super Bowl. We're not letting that happen again. And then, I've seen all these people, well, the Browns actually won the trade. I don't care that I think they got a number 2, a number 3 pick. When have the Browns ever consistently drafted well? When? You tell me. And the Rams, got a guy where he's saying, well, he's 31. Okay. He just set the all-time sacks record. He's got at least 3 more dominant years. Don't you think the Rams would take that? I don't know what his control is on his contract. I think they've got him for at least 2, and then but at that age, I'm sure they'll work out a deal to keep him there and let him retire a Ram. Okay, T-Bird, you've been to Emerald Isle. It's great. Thank you. Yes. Good news. Thank you. Says it's peaceful, beautiful, less crowded, definitely not Myrtle Beach. So the Rams going for it. And if I'm a Rams fan, Richie Davis, I sent him a text yesterday. I said, man, this is just unfair. You should just be doing cartwheels. And I know the Verse kid's a nice player, right? He's a young Jared Verse, good young player, but now he's going to Cleveland. And to our credit, a couple months ago when they made their coaching hire, they went to Myles Garrett and they got his input. And we said this on the show. David and I have talked about it. Myles, what would you're the leader. You're the best player on this team. You are the face of the Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett is the face. It should be the quarterback. They don't have one. Who would you like to have to be the coach? I'm a big fan of Jim Schwartz. I think he could slide right in. He's done it before, and he's a leader. He's a guy that I really want to play for. Okay, thank you, Miles. Miles, we've considered, and we told you to go pound sand. We hired our own guy. We just wanted to ask because we felt like we needed to. Garrett was not happy about that. He didn't hide the fact that he wasn't happy about that. And to be honest, I'm not saying you should go to players and let them choose your coaches. But if you take the time to recognize that this guy's different, this guy's at an elite level that not a lot of people get to as consistently as he has, especially when he's the only thing they really have. And you go to him and ask him advice and completely just ditch him. And I don't know some of the conversations that took place, but they didn't hire his guy. And I think he was going to be pretty sour about that. And now people are saying, well, the Browns got rid of his salary, this and that, yada, yada, yada. Okay. All I know is you lost the best defensive player in the NFL, gave him to an immediate Super Bowl contender, and now the Rams have to be the favorites to win the Super Bowl. I would take that as a fan base over anybody trying to say the Browns salvaged this pretty well any day of the week, especially an organization that has been in draft hell for the last 10 to 15 years. Good morning, Chris Lester. How you doing, brother? Rams got to be the favorite in the NFC. Yeah, no question. That's already a good division, right? At least three of the teams, legitimate contenders, but nobody more so than the Rams now, in my opinion. Remember, Seattle lost Kenneth Walker, too. Tebow, what's up? Yep, the NFC West is going to be just nuts. Wayne, a lifelong Browns fan. He's Wayne from Ohio, remember. Browns just lost their one star. They lost the only player people buy his jersey and leader, much less NFL best defensive. Correct. No leadership now on that team. None. He was the one guy that guys flocked to. No, the Browns are not close. Sorry, Chris. And this is from a diehard NFL fan who follows it very well. There's nothing about the Browns that's close. The coaching change they made is not going to take. They don't have the best position solved, the most important position solved at quarterback, unless all of a sudden you're going to count Deshaun Watson and count on him coming back. So, sure, they got a number one. They say they look at Verse as being another number one. And I'm not saying he's not a good young player because he clearly is. But he's not Myles Garrett. And we'll see what the Browns do with these draft picks. Let's see what happens. Now, they're in a division, to your point, Chris, they are in a division that's going through some transition at the top with the Ravens and the Steelers, each with new coaches. The Bengals keep their coach. And you could say on paper they have the best quarterback, maybe. I don't know. Lamar might have something to say about that, but he hasn't proven to have championship pedigree. So the Bengals are just kind of sitting there. They don't do much of anything, right? Yeah, everybody wants to pick on his age. Okay, all right. Let's just see what happens over the next 2 or 3 years with Curse and who they're going to draft and what Myles Garrett does for the Rams. Let's just see what happens. Again, actions will determine who won this trade. And up until management asked him his opinion and told him to go pound sand, Myles Garrett was a pretty strong teammate and leader on a very bad team and organization. That defense was by far the strong suit of that team because of him. So it's not like he's a guy that causes problems. Yeah, Father Time is not, is completely undefeated. Correct. We always try to change it, don't we? We always try to change it. Nah. Father Time is forever the 72 Dolphins. Browns have had 41 different starting quarterbacks since 2000. And they don't have one now. You drafted 2 in one draft, one because you felt pressure to, and you're getting one back that embarrassed the organization more than anybody in that front office has, and that's saying something. And those fans, you talk about fans that deserve better. Wayne, everything you guys went through when Art Modell completely and utterly pulled one of the most classless moves of any owner ever, when he lied and then took your team to Baltimore. But Myles Garrett, I think, is not just the best defensive player in the league. I think he's the best football player in the NFL. The way he handles himself, the way he takes care of himself. I know people are going to – I saw that all day yesterday. He's 31. That's a pretty good haul for 31. Okay. Yeah, that would be if you had some guy who was just a good player, a good starter. We're talking about a guy who's an absolute superstar. We're not talking about just a guy here. We're talking about Myles freaking Garrett. And like I said, if I'm a Rams fan, let's say it doesn't work out. Let's say they don't. Maybe he gets hurt. He might get hurt. It's the NFL. Guys get hurt all the time. I still would not regret it if I'm a Rams fan for going all in to try to win a Super Bowl. That's all you can ask for as a fan. We don't get a lot today as fans anymore. We don't get much anymore as fans, right? We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Yeah, we got to get to that, Tebow. I bet you are. You and Ryan Pry. Another trade happened yesterday, a lot less fanfare. You know, as fans, we don't get much anymore. We talked about this with pro sports and now college sports, and there's not a whole lot to latch on to. But, boy, when you see this is all you can ask for. If you're a dedicated fan, as Richie Davis is, he's been a lifelong Rams fan. People like that, and you see your organization make a move like this, then you just have to – you appreciate it because they're going for it. Watch how many Rams 95 blue and gold Myles Garrett jerseys run out of the – who is it? Fanatics, unfortunately, has got a monopoly on gear now. They've ruined it all. Everything's cheaply made. But I'm not going to assume, especially, this goes along with how I'm thinking about recruiting now in college. Everybody's saying, oh, look at the draft picks they got. Okay. You got to hit on them, and then you got to develop them. Much like getting kids who won't contribute for 2 or 3 years down the road in college, you got to hit on them, and you got to develop them. The now in the NFL is all that matters. And the Rams are living in the now. They identified their Super Bowl window with a Matthew Stafford, who, by the way, I had somebody a couple of days ago trying to tell me Matthew Stafford is not a Hall of Famer. And I was like, just what do you not follow the game? Of course he's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They pulled that trade off with Jared Goff, and they want to get their window secure while they have this guy who's still healthy, who's still slinging it around. Matthew Stafford is the consummate NFL quarterback. Let's put it this way. How many of you, your favorite team, if the Browns had somebody like Matthew Stafford, this wouldn't even be a debate. But you don't. Good for them. They're going for it. Good for them. They should. What's up, GS? I don't know about first ballot, Chris. The whole thing gets tainted, man. You know, the voting is so weird. He's a Hall of Famer. And whether he gets in on first ballot, I don't know. The criteria seems to change. It's a sliding criteria every year. You know, I've been fortunate enough to be at the Hall of Fame a couple times. I talked to a few people about all that. Talked to Randy Gradishar about it. That guy, when he got in and I was there. He waited and waited and waited and waited. Where a couple of writers just left him off. I think he should be. Look at his record. Look at the numbers, man. Look at what he's done. Matthew Stafford, not Hall of Famer, question mark. Amazes me how many of these people have better drug dealers than me. Yeah. Of course he's a Hall of Famer. Of course he is. Myles Garrett's a Hall of Famer. He wins the Super Bowl with the Rams, he'll make sure he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like when Lawrence Taylor was in the league, and I don't know about you, if you're of a certain age, you couldn't wait. I never was a Giants fan. I wore number 56 at Pulaski County High School because of Lawrence Taylor. I begged Coach Flincham and Coach Hicks for 56 because they tried to give me 52, and 56 was still sitting over there in the locker. I went, how about that one? Can I have that one? Now, I didn't play anywhere near 56's quality. But I could not wait to watch Giants games just to watch Lawrence Taylor. And then I had to sit there and watch him wreak havoc on my Broncos in Super Bowl, was it 21? 1986 season, the 87 Super Bowl, the 39-20 win for the Giants. Rams are a lot like the Eagles. They do what they got to do exactly, Tebow. The Eagles are a great comparison. They need something, they go get it. Stafford's a Hall of Famer, but usually first ballot guys have championships unless the numbers are top 5 all time. Well, and maybe I'm sure that is part of the thinking because everybody on that team loves him. They want him to win a Super Bowl in this window. But I couldn't wait to watch Lawrence Taylor. I will sometimes at work put on his highlights and show the people who have no idea who he is. It's amazing generations of folks who have no idea who they are. I've heard of him. Okay, watch 5 minutes of this. It's kind of like Cole Wilder, my broadcast partner at Radford. He hears all the hoopla around Michael Porter, David Mabry, if you're watching, Virginia Legends. The basketball player, the greatest basketball talent to ever be produced in the New River Valley. It's not close. There's no debate. Was that guy really good? Well, Virginia Legends, I believe, had a Michael Porter highlight reel. I sent it to Cole. And he went, I'm sorry I ever questioned you. Any event, Lawrence Taylor, number 56. Bill Belichick. Watch Bill Belichick talk about Lawrence Taylor. All you need to know about Lawrence Taylor is that the greatest offensive mind of modern football, Bill Walsh. By the way, everything that's run in the NFL, every aspect of today's NFL offense is connected to Bill Walsh. Much like John Wooden at UCLA, every college basketball team runs variations of everything John Wooden ran when he won 10 national titles in 12 years. Bill Walsh had to create a different playbook, a different game plan. He said it was the only player he ever did that for. They would go over what they're going to do. Then he'd hand the offenses. Here's Joe. Here, Jerry. Here, Roger Craig. Here, Jonathan Taylor. Here, Randy Cross, the anchor of that line. Here's what we're going to try to do now to make sure that number 56 doesn't completely disrupt everything we're planning on doing. That's how great Lawrence Taylor was, that Bill Walsh had to come up with a different game plan just for him. So I think Myles Garrett, modern-wise, is as close to I've seen as a guy who's just constantly disrupting. They'll show ISO plays on him, and he is, even if he's not making tackles or if he's not getting to the quarterback, he's doing everything he can to alter it. And it's just, It's great. It's great. Myles Garrett is the type of player that puts the Rams into Super Bowl chatter instantly. Absolutely. The Browns won the trade. I saw. Okay. I hope you sleep better trying to convince yourself the Browns actually won a trade. The kid they got's a good player. This is not dissing him. How's he going to perform now in Cleveland? And let's see who they draft with that extra number 1 next year. Let's see. I did think, and I'll stand by it, I think they had a decent, at least on paper, good draft. 26. I've talked about it. I love the Concepcion kid, the receiver, but who's going to throw the ball to him consistently? They haven't solved that, have they? Oh, I'm sorry. Deshaun Watson's coming. Well, thank you. Yeah, well, Vaughn in his prime was amongst the best. Yeah, and he single-handedly won Denver Super Bowl 50 MVP. The 2 strip sacks of Cam Newton and made him look like a helpless high school quarterback. Wayne says, I will say something controversial. I think Michael Vick should be in the Hall of Fame. He changed the game. He changed the game in college. He didn't change the game in the NFL. The NFL already had their version. Now, he was a hell of an NFL quarterback, but I don't think he's an NFL Hall of Famer, no. But absolutely, and he just got inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. He completely changed that position at the collegiate level forever, 100%. But not in the NFL. The NFL had guys who were running well before Michael Vick got there who were the same type of threat. Now, he had a cannon for an arm, and he could do it all. But he'll never make it to the Hall of Fame anyway because of what happened. Let's just say it the way it is. The league is never going to let him. But I don't think he had the type of career. He didn't have a Hall of Fame NFL career. I don't think. But he got rewarded for the Hall of Fame career he did have as a collegiate player in Blacksburg. And he's the greatest thing that we've ever seen. I mean, there's not going to be any more Michael Vicks that's going to go walking through this door. No matter how much James Franklin redesigns everything over there, Michael Vick is a one-on-one. It's just one of one. He's another guy you call up highlights, and some of these younger people I work with didn't get to see him play. They know the name very well, and you don't. If unless you were there for it, you can't put it into the right context. But yeah, absolutely. But not in the NFL, no. And he was solid. He was good. He was really good. But for the Falcons, he was good. And for the Eagles, he did some nice things when he got his career back. Yep. No question. What's up with Cam Newton's choice of attire these days? Yeah, I don't know what's happened to Cam. Brian says with Deshaun, they might get a happy ending. Well, and take the might out of that. I think you've nailed it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was. He was special, man. He was special. And I have a different take. There's so many people, and I still am amazed. The guy made a massive mistake and was living a lifestyle. And we've talked about it with Dwight. It was disgusting. It was unspeakable what was happening to those animals, right? He served his time, didn't fight it, admitted he was wrong, right? Rehabbed. Now he's out. He's gone out of his way to make sure that he's doing things to promote the health of animals, dogs. He made a massive mistake, shortcoming in his life that cost him everything for a while. And he's built his life back, and now he's the head coach of a Division I football program. And yet people want to continue every time his name comes up. When I posted back on the old Facebook page before it got hacked, by the way, the new one's up. Please find it and follow it. It's good. People are slowly starting to find it on Facebook, Big Dog Sports Talk. But when I posted about the Hall of Fame, it was amazing how many comments were on there about how he didn't deserve everything because of what happened with the animals. And I'm just like, nobody's saying that wasn't heinous and just awful. No one is. But don't you have a chance if you go out and you show your rehab and you do your time, if you serve your sentence, don't you have an opportunity to go back and reconstruct your life, which is what he's done? I mean, he had a great comeback with the Eagles, and he continues that comeback every day. He still talks about the lessons that he learned. This world is so judgmental on things that are safe, but they don't want to try to look at things from a bigger picture because, for whatever reason. I don't know. But that's me. That's just me. But in any event, kudos to the Rams. Kudos to the Rams. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. I don't know why that's not working. All right. Let's see here. All right. I'm trying to call up some information and I can't get. Any event. Good trade for the Rams. Good trade for the Rams. All right, let's get caught up on chat here. Brian Siegel going to join us coming up. Marva bailed today, by the way, because she said, quote, I'm going to put this in a voice that I think she was using when she texted. Rick, my air conditioner went out. It's so hot. It's 93 in the house, and I don't think I can do the show. So be sure next Tuesday we point out how incredibly soft. I think she's representing what North Carolina athletics really is all about, even though they are the only ACC team that's made it into the super regionals of the baseball tournament. Yeah, Donald Wayne Snell. I had the pleasure of playing. We won 2 city championships in softball in Radford, and Donald Wayne was on that team. Effortless athlete. Just marveled at Donald Wayne Snell. Ray Lewis got in trouble. Yeah. He never got away from the murder, all the drugs. Yeah. People let that go. And he does. That's right. He does so much good now. I'd hate to think that one bad mistake I've made in my life would haunt me for the rest of my days, especially if you did what Michael Vick did to rehab and serve his time. Right? There's not enough time on this show to explain the greatness of Michael Vick. Correct. By the way, I mentioned we're going to be doing the in-season show with Dwight Vick. Victory, V-I-C-K, from the Tunnel. I think it's a great title. The Tunnel, of course, the reference to the Tech players after they've rubbed the rock and they're getting ready to run out the Sandman. I think it's perfect. And we're going to have former players on, and maybe we might have 2 guys with the last name Vick on one of those programs. Maybe. Yeah, absolutely, T-Buff. If anybody get a chance to watch Donald Wayne, he would hit too many home runs right-handed, so he'd go to left-handed, and then he would still hit home runs. And then he would just anything that was hit in the gap, you didn't even have to go chase it. Like if he hit one in the gap, by the time they found the softball, he's already halfway to third. Just hang on to the ball. You're not throwing him out. No, Chris. But it does start with an M. Thank you, Chris. Yeah. Victory from the tunnel. Isn't that great? Peeps chose that. That was our Dwight had from the tunnel. And I think his name should be on it. Now, Dwight being the guy, he goes, what about your name? I said, no, I don't care about my name. This is about you being on the show. I said, it's my channel. I don't have to be on it. I'm not that, I don't have that mindset. Oh, yes, I definitely have to get credit for it. I don't give a damn. Victory from the tunnel. He's going to be the star of the show. Therefore, his name should be on. It's not hard. Yeah, maybe that'll happen too, Chris. Maybe that'll happen too. Why not? Why not? If you don't make a T-shirt with that name on it, Victor in the tunnel, now the irony of Vic. That's true. That's true. We got to come up with a logo, don't we? We'll figure that out. That's not a bad idea, Wayne. That might get some traction. It's going to be an hour-long show. Those of you asking on the professional door text line, it's going to be an hour-long show. It will run. I think we're going to do one the week before the VMI game. And then we'll do one every week for an hour. The time will probably move around whenever Tech plays. Like if they play on a Saturday, it'll stay probably Saturday morning. If it's a Friday game, maybe we'll air it for, we'll play with the schedule and see a Thursday game, whatever it might be. T-Bird says, Rick, you'll leave Emerald Isle with a whole new respect for mobile home parks. Wait till you see. Be sure to search the sale price if you see a mobile home for sale. All right. I like the aspects of going to a place I've never been. I always like that. So, and everybody has raved about it, even Coach Foster. Yeah, even Coach Foster. He said he'd been there a couple of times. Pick your Vic with Rick. Agreed, Eric. Eric say, man, I love when Dwight's on your show. Dwight, first of all, Dwight Vick is one of the best people I've ever gotten to know. And you see that when he's on. He's just a generally good human being. And I got to be honest, as you get older, there aren't a lot of times you walk away from a conversation or meeting somebody and you go, you know what? That is a generally good person. They're becoming few and far between. Dwight Vick is that guy times 100. And not only that, he's as knowledgeable as anybody who talks about the game and in particular Virginia Tech. He's dedicated his life to helping people. And he does that very seriously. At times it cuts into what he does on the show. Rick, I got to meet a client at 8. Hey, what you're doing is vitally important. Don't ever worry about it. And I don't know anybody who loves Virginia Tech football as much as him. There's a lot of people that do, and he gets criticized. And he talks about it here. He's very honest, and that's the kind of fan I am. I hate all this, well, you got to just be a rah-rah and accept everything. No, if you're a real fan, you really care, It's like having family members and your kids and your whatever, your spouse. You don't just accept everything and, like what's going on at Tech now is kind of messed up. They got to fix a lot of things. They got to get people in place that's going to do the right stuff. They feel like James Franklin's the guy. That was the first step. And now they're going to surround him with the right support staff, and this thing could very well explode again. But you got to be honest. And he's been honest. He said it here last year when we had our Armageddon show after the ODU game. He ripped everybody, and everything he said was exactly true and proved to be true. And he was talking about he gets a lot of people, you don't love Tech. Why? Because he's recognizing for all the things that are wrong? Yeah, Dwight keeps everything real. He's never hyperbole. There's nothing about him that is about him. Does that make sense? So in any event, I'm looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be terrific. It'll be on the channel. It'll be a show that we record and then upload. It won't be live unless, it works out to where we can do it live. Sure, I'm not against it. Hell, this is live every day. And I mentioned yesterday we will be carrying Blacksburg football, the audio, no video. People have asked me about that. We're not allowed to do that with the NFHS, I think it is. They have the video license for high schools. But we will put the audio on like a radio broadcast. We'll run sponsors. I mean, that's for sure going to be a potential sponsor of that. That's you're getting a whole lot more than you will on a radio broadcast that might be on air and might not be on air locally. It's the way it goes with high school football broadcasts here in the New River Valley. This way you never lose it. You just come to YouTube. You don't have to be within radio range. You can just go to YouTube, and there it is. You'll hear the guys. They got to get a new football coach hired there first. So when that happens, we'll start to proceed more with that. But I'm excited, and everybody else is either on the radio or who we approached weren't interested in moving off of radio, which I completely understand. You're used to it. It's safe, even though the games may not sound very good because of the mechanisms that are being used, even though you can't hear much of the two guys calling the game. Not their fault, but that's okay. This way we're going to have it here. You just go to the channel, boom. That'll be the Blacksburg High School live broadcast. If you're a subscriber, you'll get the notice. And you can go there and listen. And it's nice to be able to provide an outlet for them because it's a very large school. It's a program that's doing well. Yeah, exactly. I think that's right, T-Bone. And like $10. It's not bad. It's not expensive at all. And look, and that's a great service. It is. It is. But you're not guaranteed to have, I don't know how many of your team's games are actually on it. It rotates around wherever they're going to be and so forth. So I'm a big fan of what they've tried to do, the NFHS. I think it's cool. So, which is why we're just doing the audio, because we're not, they have that contract with the Commonwealth. But this will be like the radio, pregame with the two guys. They can do that live on camera, postgame with coach, whatever they want to do, however they want to develop it. It's fine with me. And we'll have more on that coming up. So we're excited about that. All right. Brian Siegel here in about 10 minutes. We want to thank Family Fencing, sponsor of our studios, 540-200-8294. Thanks to Jason Green. Weather's warm. Grass and ground is soft. Get them to come give you a quote, and they can have your fence up ASAP. Mark Hunley, 155 Walters Drive, McClellan Chiropractic Clinic. Mark bought that practice, and he's taking it to new levels. All these businesses have the same thing in common, man. Rising. Mark is terrific. He's one of the best in the biz. Go by if you're local, and if you're not, It's worth the drive to go see him to get your body back into shape. We're presented each and every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Speaking of on the rise, all the things, all the plans that they've got going on there, Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. We always have great conversations with all the people there when they're on the program. Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee here locally, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg, 540-553-2971. Thanks to everyone who's reached out and mentioned the show. Means a lot. Means a whole lot. We still need an official BDST fan question of the week brought to you by the attorney Ryan Pry, Trust and Estate Planning. What do you want it to be? You know what? Let's do it this way. Let's just do this one. Who won the trade, Rams or Browns? That'll be our BDST fan question of the week. Who won the Myles Garrett trade, Rams or Browns? National Bank member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of me and this program, thanks to Larry Ramsey. One of the easiest transitions I've ever had was them bringing all my financial obligations into one nice, neat little package. Crazy how much they made it feel like it was, it's done? Huh. Professional Door, Travis Williams. Got to hang out with Trav yesterday in Dublin. What a great dude. And what a great business, man. Getting ready to start their 39th year in July. We got some cool stuff coming up there. His father is still very active. He was telling some stories about his dad yesterday. He started this business 38 years, man. Professional commercial garage door, sponsor of our text line. Great, great people. Ready, set, fun. Speaking of great people, the Chris family. Of course, Dave Chris, the brother of Bob Chris. Dave Chris, the legendary high school Blacksburg football coach. Just a great man. And Bob is doing a wonderful things with this Ready, Set, Fun text messages. You need to look into it. If you don't know about it, it's very helpful. Sundown Electric, one of the best reputations and a long list of satisfied clients, attest to superior craftsmanship, attention to detail, clear communication in Elliston. Reach out to the Smith brothers. The NRV Super Bowl, Midnight Madness is up and running. It's terrific. It's like a party in there. It is a party. If you're bowling late at night on a Saturday and you make that choice, your life's going pretty good. And you want to do it at the Super Bowl. 540-382-5525. We will be doing our bash there. And Lawson's Mobile Home Supply. Give James a call, 540-381-8011 at 300 North Franklin Street in Christiansburg. Manufactured home parts, windows, doors, plumbing. James is a great guy, by the way. He's a lifelong tech season ticket holder as well. To be determined, T-Bird, on the broadcasters. To be determined. Rams. Brandon says Rams. I know, Chris. I'm going against. I know. And you're right. I just said let's wait and let Father Time tell us. But it's right now in the immediate. Let's see who people say won. Rams. Is that even a question you ever got? Garrett was exactly. But yeah, look at X. Look at all the people on X, Tebow. Well, the Browns won this trade. I can't believe people are dogging the Browns. They get out of that contract. Okay. They get the Verse kid. He's really going to be something. Okay, he might be. He looks like a good player. He's got a lot of the right stuff in him. He had a really good year last year. Okay, he's not Myles Garrett. And they get these draft picks. Okay. Browns will screw up any picks they got, and the players will leave. Alternative answer is the AFC North. Thank you, by the way. Still getting, like today already, 3 messages on the Professional Door text line about Marty and Rags yesterday. Yeah, it was good. That will be the show that will re-air next Monday when I'm on my honeymoon. Yep. We'll do it. Oh, what did Wayne send me here? Oh, you've already done it. God, could I look more like a guru? I like that, Wayne. I'm going to keep that. How did you do that? Let me show this. So Wayne, the unofficial producer of this program, we're talking about creating a logo for Victory from the Tunnel. Look at that. God, I look terrible. But, boy, that looks good, doesn't it? Like, I don't believe I'm worthy of being in the tunnel with Dwight Vick. Right? See the awkward smile I've got going on right there? I look like a dude who just left the computer programming building. Hey, man. It's good, though. That's good, though. I like that, Wayne. Maybe, work on me a little bit. Dwight looks great. Chat GPT. You did give me some hair. You did. I appreciate that. Jared Verse was chasing Saquon from behind every time we played him. Yeah. That's pretty good, Wayne. I like that. I'll send that to Dwight later. He looks great. You nailed that. The tunnel. AI generated Rick looks like he sold Dwight a computer from Best Buy. Hey, man. Hey there, football guy. Do you need a new computer? I'm your guy. Hey, man. I know one thing I did appreciate when you got me in some magnificent shape there. You're very confident that my weight loss journey is going to continue on a positive track there. Look at that waistline. That's pretty impressive. Look, I've even got my shirt tucked in. So I appreciate that. Thanks for the compliment, Wayne. Mike Burnip, by the way, before Mike Burnip, we've got Coach Elmo's back today. Yeah, use the BD. Ooh, that's a good idea. Use the BDST logo and maybe add Creed like in the tunnel, mad and fired up in a Tech jersey. Can you pull that off, Wayne? Rick puts the geek in Geek Squad. Yeah, really. No doubt. Hey, man. Can't wait to get your computer set up, Dwight, then go home and please my woman. Sorry. Yeah, get Creed in like a torn Tech jersey. Yeah, got to have that's true. You got to have the beat. I can handle how I look at that. That's fine. Yeah, maybe add those. Can you do that, Wayne? Let's see if you can pull that off, big boy. Chris and I giving you work. But he can just kind of be in the background. He's worthy of being in the tunnel. Dude caught a bird yesterday. I don't know. He jumped up in the. It's just he got the instinct. We have so many birds around. I didn't take that away from him. I took the rabbit away from him a couple of weeks ago. We'll talk a little bit about the BOV thing with Brian coming up and with Mike Burnip. Megan Duffy was the only coach there. She was saying, look, it's 10 to 12 million if you're going to be competitive. And see, here's where we go into this whole thing and why this is going to implode very soon, in my opinion. It's not going to implode by anybody's plan, but the way college athletics is running right now, it's going to implode by sheer attrition. But when women's basketball is going to the board saying they need 10 to 12 million, to what end? It's a program that probably loses more than that every year. And this becomes the question. What does being competitive really mean to a university if that sport does not create revenue? It's why they are all in, and rightfully so, on football. Football has got to be good and has to anchor that athletic department. James Franklin said it last Thursday. Reminding people when you hear about other things, even men's basketball, I'm sorry, and this is going to sound A lot of people may not like this. The only thing that matters right now for Virginia Tech athletics, other than making their hires, is getting football back to where it belongs. Am I wrong on that? You can talk about men's basketball. You can talk about women's basketball needing X amount of dollars. You can talk about softball, wrestling, baseball. Okay. None of those programs, other than men's basketball, make any money. It has to get back to football being what it's supposed to be in Blacksburg. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any of the athletes. I'm going to get pushback on this. I'm not trying to say anything against Coach Duffy. I like her a lot. I found out, we tried to get her on. She never got the messages. She reached out to me, which was really cool. We'll have her on. I don't think that person's there anymore, by the way. It has nothing to do with women's sports, with Olympic sports, and I don't want anybody trying to say that, like, you hear him telling you that didn't matter. It doesn't. Virginia Tech football has to rise again. It has to be the Phoenix in Blacksburg for anything else to even have a shot. And if that makes people angry, I'm sorry. You can't have it both ways. Joining us now on the program is that gentleman looking dapper. And look at that. Now, that is a damn fine Tech polo he's got on. Brian Seek for the Boundary Quarter. I like that.
What's going on this morning, Rick?
Well, before we get into that, this whole thing you got going on here and the collar, Matt, that's good. That's a good look, brother.
Yeah, a little color block on the shoulders and a little heather on the rest of it. Nice.
I like that. Well, I just said, here you go. You're walking right into this. All right. Yesterday, the BOV met, first day of it, and Megan Duffy was the only coach in attendance, women's basketball. She's saying, look, we got to have 10 or 12 million just to have the kind of roster. If you want to ask around, okay, that's fair. She has every right to go in there and fight for what she needs. I like Megan a lot. That women's program deserves attention, but it doesn't make any money. It loses a lot of money.
Yeah.
Tech football is handling this thing the only way they can. Everything's got to go in to the football program. I'm looking at, I'm not trying to diss any other sport, any other athlete. Tech football is the only thing that matters in Blacksburg right now. What do you think?
I'm gonna tell it like this. Have you ever been down to Dollywood and Pigeon Forge?
One time, yeah. I've been to Pigeon Forge several times, but only to Dollywood one time, yeah.
All right, you go into Dollywood. When you first get in there, you take a right, and then you take another right. There's this, like, bake shop and restaurant there, and they've got a apple pie that, one slice is as big as my face. We need to grow a Dollywood-sized apple pie, and you're only going to do that by supporting football first. Then everybody can get one of those face-size slices at some point down the road.
There you go. That's a great analogy. I like that. Turn Tech football into a Dollywood pie, apple pie.
Damn right. That's what I think we need to do.
And that's what they've turned their attention to. And I think everybody they're going to bring in, new leadership, is going to have that. That's going to be their directive, as it should be. The one thing that impressed me the most about sitting over there with James Franklin, he's very unapologetic about telling everyone this exact thing. Look, you want this thing to get turned around? I need certain things. We know football has to be it. And I think he even said something. Look, this isn't talking against any other program, but this is what has to happen. And I think people finally have that understanding. And I believe he's gotten here, and he couldn't believe what he walked into. He couldn't believe how broken down the facility was. They don't have a football building. Bud Foster said that he grabbed, one of the first days, he grabbed Bud and walked around and saw the broken stuff around. This isn't – I bring in recruits here. How are we going to – we got to make this thing – and I get it. So this is a guy who came in from the outside, saw what top-of-the-line facilities look like at Penn State, because it is you walk into that place, it's like walking into an oasis. Well, that realization's hitting full throttle, and I don't have any problem with everything going into that program. So
I think in the interim, you still need to put out a competitive product, but in terms of growing what their budget is, what their allocation is from the athletic department and places outside of the athletic department. That's got to come second, because if you're not feeding your bell cow, all of that money is going to eventually start to shrink and shrink and shrink.
That's right.
And now no one gets money. And now the thing that drives your revenue is now also in the gutter again. So you got to keep building up. You got to keep the momentum that we have with this funding. And hopefully at some point in the near future, when things get right, some of that money can start trickling down to these other programs in the athletic department.
And it's tough, isn't it, Brian, for these other coaches, because they have to understand, okay, we have to be all supportive in this investment. It's not for us, but if it's going to be for us, just as you said, and you said it better than I did, if the money is going to start being invested in us, we know that right now that investment has to take care of the thing that's going to create that money for us. Right?
Yeah, because football is generating the lion's share of the revenue for the athletic department. That's just the long and short of it. So if you're going to fund something that is putting money back into your coffers, football is the thing to do, because the other sports, even men's basketball, is not generating anywhere near the funds for the school or the program that football is. No. From a goodwill standpoint, from a national perspective standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, no other sport comes close.
And if it's good again, if they have aspirations, and I'm guessing they do, right? Didn't they announce that? Well, maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it was Sands, I don't know. But they want to grow up, and if I'm not mistaken, they want more attendance, right? They want more enrollment. Well, what's going to draw more applications? Football being good is what did that before, and it would do it again. That's what kids pay attention to.
We saw the surge towards the end of the late 90s. We saw the huge surge with Michael Vick in the national championship run. We saw those numbers keep going up. And I know that overall college attendance has went up over the last 2 decades, but we're reaching kind of a point. We're reaching a point now just in the United States where enrollment is starting to shrink a little bit. So you're going to need something other than just the academic piece to bring people to your campus. And football is certainly a driving force of that.
100%. And I think James Franklin understands that as well as anybody else too. He talked about that being a recruiting tool. I think he'll do the things once he gets the thing going in the right direction to remind people about the place he's walked into and what it's becoming. I think that's going to all be taken care of. But I appreciate her fighting for her program, but I saw that I'm like, I know you might need 12 mil, but to what end? And this is to what end do you give that money when you know that money is just going to be lost forever? And that's the problem. That's the problem. I don't know how you solve it. I really don't know how you solve it, but
unless you're feeling like you've got a program that's 1 or 2 million away from a national championship, what's the point? Until football's right and you can grow everybody's pie, what's the point? Like
right.
If you're not on the precipice like wrestling, who has been self-funding themselves for
right.
a decade or more now. So like, unless you're doing that, what's the point?
Right. And what's their only chance of getting money that they don't have to raise themselves at all costs? Well, that would come from football too.
Yeah.
And they deserve it. That program is definitely stable. I think it's going to be a championship contender one. As a matter of fact, I think it's probably the best sport in the next 2 or 3 years that might win Tech its first national title or have a shot
next year at 27 and 28. I mean, you can circle those as kind of years to watch the wrestling program in terms of their ability to compete for a national championship.
100%. And nothing stirs the pot of emotions around any aspect of that department than football Saturdays. That's just the way that it is. But it was interesting. Of course, Rakovich was not there. There was a lot of speculation he might show up, and somehow I didn't think that would be the case because he's all about Virginia Tech, and that would have kind of upstaged the
He did not want to be a distraction. He did not want to be a distraction, and I think that was a good choice by him, regardless of how he feels and whether he thought he deserved to be there and all those other things. I think it was a good move not to be there to cause further distraction, and because that would have been the story instead of Hokie Ventures and some of the other things that are coming out of that. So,
did you like what you heard regarding that with Hokie Ventures? It sounded pretty positive, didn't it? That they created that little off arm of the athletic director's office with Hokie Ventures, and it looked like it got the kind of support they were looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I think the support is good. I think the idea of being more nimble with marketing and finances for athletics is important. I think having a separate arm that is focused on those sponsorship aspects, those marketing aspects, is going to be great for the athletic department as a whole. Number one, whoever the new AD is, that's something that they're a part of, but they're not the stopgap for approvals for any of that funding. You've got a board, you got 5 independent seats on that board. You got 4 that are somehow, affiliated with the university. And I think that's going to be a good move to also get eyes outside of the university scope on this thing on a regular basis. I think that's going to be a good thing from just a business acumen standpoint. You're going to get folks on there that understand the business side of athletics. Yeah. And I think that that's going to be an important piece as well.
It really is, man. It's just where we are because it's professional sports now. And to have those you're 100% right. To have that kind of mindset coming in is vital instead of somebody who might be holding on to the old mentalities surrounding college sports, because it is professional football. It's professional sports now. You have to have that business model going forward. 100%.
Yeah, I mean, and you're not going to have a whole board full of Mayhools, and
right.
even to Mayhool's point, I mean, he's a huge business acumen, but in terms of marketing in the sports world, maybe not even his forte, right? So, but in terms of love of the sport and the ability from a financial standpoint and a business acumen standpoint to push things into football, he is a good driving force for that within the BOV, but you still need those outside independent forces that have more of that sports marketing background that can bring that to the table.
Yeah, 100%. And if your AD hire is somebody who's also well-versed in raising money, but, they can maybe add something to that, but that's not necessarily their focus, and they can be an AD and, to go between everything they need to be for the coaches, then that's even more ideal to me to have somebody with that experience. And I'm sure that'll be under consideration when they make that
Absolutely.
hire. So I think that'll be the first hire that's going to be announced. But everything will fall in line at some point. But when you go through transition, it's going to be sometimes messy. It's not always comfortable, but I think if I'm a Tech fan, if I'm a donor, if I'm an alum, I would be over the moon with at least the effort that's being put forth to change things in the direction. And I know the new head football coach is not going to let them stray from that message, right?
And if you got to do change, it's better to just rip the Band-Aid off like we're doing with new president coming in, new AD. You got Hokie Ventures, you got a new football coach that's 6 months on the job. I mean, there's a lot of things happening all at once. So if you got to go through that change, let's go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off, get through the tough part pretty quickly, and hopefully we can come out on the other side looking a whole lot better.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Well, football roster will take care of itself. I think that's all going to develop pretty well. We'll see how they get through this year and then set things up for the future. But I think, what are you guessing in terms of, well, it's kind of silly. I can't ask that question because they might all sell out. But you kind of, when you're there tailgating and you set a guy set up like you did for the spring game, you talked about the difference in the vibe a little bit. It feels like to me, once we get closer to VMI and you get into August and we start getting regular practice reports and we start seeing more video of Grunkenmeyer and some of these new players, this thing has the potential. I think the last time I remember people being excited was right out of the Beamer era, right, when Fuente got here, because he was a very positive hire, man. People were all over it, and seeing that team, and they were good. That's probably the one I compare it to now. People are coming back like they did then a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're starting to see a definite groundswell of interest. And I think, one of the things that I'll talk about real quick is that this is the most interested I've been in recruiting since 2018, 2019, when the last really good Fuente class. Before the recruiting department got gutted and all of a sudden we had no roadmap and Fuente's instincts betrayed him. And everything kind of went south pretty quick there. This is the most interested I've been in recruiting since then. And it's really been something to behold, because you're seeing it, on the timelines on social media, you're seeing it everywhere. You're getting these national publicity national writers and things writing stories regularly about what the Hokies are doing. I mean, we're kind of, creeping back into that national spotlight even before we played a football game yet with under James Franklin. And if you can go out there and string together a good number of wins in the fall, that's only going to build that momentum going forward.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And that'll be good for everybody that's over there and for, people like us that do shows regarding that, especially yours. What's going on at the corner this week? You guys on this week?
We're taking a week off. We got a couple interviews we're trying to line up for the next couple of weeks. So
nice.
Working on that, and we will announce those as they get confirmed.
That'll be good. So coming back next week, right? Next Tuesday?
Next week, yeah. We're having some go between with Travis Wells, trying to get a couple folks lined up on the team there. So working out the exact timeline, but we will be back next week with a fun guest to chat up about. Well,
Travis is the best, so he'll help you out. I'll be on my honeymoon next week, so we're going to have tape shows, not live shows next week.
There we go.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I won't get to bother you next week.
You'll be having your own kind of fun next week.
I hope so. My goodness. That's why you do that, right?
That's right.
All right, man. Well, have a good week off, and we appreciate you as always.
Always a pleasure, Rick. You have a good one now.
All right, man. You too. There you go. Brian Siegel from the Boundary Corner. Won't be on this week, but they'll be back next week. Good thoughts from him on everything that's going down over at Virginia Tech. Yep. Coach Elmo going to join us here in a second. I got to get him on here. We'll see. We have to quickly transition to his phone if this computer doesn't work. We need a Los Polos Hermanos for money coming into the program, Christopher Lester says. I like that, Chris. Been hearing Jim Miller's name, Tebow says, as the new director. I have not heard anybody for the really. I have not heard anything about the rector. Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. You may not get a chance. Maybe I'll talk about with Coach Elmo. Anyway, real quick before he joins us. The other thing I wanted to get into, I think ESPN kind of gave away why they are so opposed to a 2014 playoff. It's not just the fact that they wouldn't be able to have sole control over the broadcast. They released the 26-27 college football TV broadcast schedule. And do you realize that of all the games, and by the way, it's ridiculous the way this thing is set up. The time between games, the quarters and the semis is almost 2 weeks. It's just stupid. But do you realize that ESPN only has 5 broadcasts of the 10 games? They only have half, which means they gave up. They sold broadcasts to TNT, True, and HBO Max, who actually make it 7. Let me look at that. Hang on. 1, 2. Let's get it right. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 5 for True TV and TNT and 5 for ESPN. So this thing's already been split down the middle. So when you look at that, you have to say, well, why are they so opposed to 24? Because I don't think they can afford to get in the bidding for more. It tells me Disney and the lack of problems, the problems they're having in their movie division and all that is starting to really trickle into this. And plus, they spent how many billion on the NBA? They've made some very questionable business decisions. And I think yesterday when I saw that schedule, I was really taken aback to see that was split right down the middle between TNT and ESPN. We're never split down the middle when Coach Elmo joins us on the program, and there he is. Hopefully he can hear us, and we're ready to rock and roll. Oh, is that a Wisconsin Rose Bowl T-shirt you got on?
Yes, it is. How we doing with the sound, Rick? We good?
Yeah, right now we're good. We're good. I don't hear me on the other end, so that's good news. That's good news.
I got my Bluetooth speaker on, so
We're just talking about, we'll talk about all sorts of things. First of all, Coach, the importance of football being the thing that they're focusing on correctly. And it may be cruel to say it, and people may not like it, but, yesterday the BOV met, and Megan Duffy's saying we got to have $12 million to compete. To what end? To a program that loses money, just like them and all the other Olympic programs. But football has got to be the thing.
the question is why air, and not necessarily it's dirty laundry, but why air all this information coming out of who needs what? I mean, okay, does that surprise you? No. I'm surprised. Well, why? Next thing you know, why stand in line with every sport that's Virginia Tech has? And I don't understand. I have a problem with all of a sudden the Board of Visitors meeting, even going back to WIT, when all of a sudden that became a press conference, or that, it was airing your needs and wants to the press. It shouldn't be out there. So tell me why I'm not supposed. That doesn't surprise me that any coach is going to sit there and go, hey, I need $2 million.
Sure.
I need $1 million. Oh, good. Well, tell me something I don't know already. Right? To me, if that's the case, that it's needed and you haven't got it, well, good luck. And football, it's going to be the answer to all your issues, but it's not going to be. If football's come to that point at Virginia Tech, that every sport is and I get it. It's always been that case in terms of money making. So you may not have made money, but you're not in the red. You're not losing money. If football's losing money, then everybody's losing.
Right.
If football's making money, well, that doesn't mean everybody's making money.
That's true too.
So to put all that, on the football program, that you talk about fair. Wow. And still, I'll go back to UVA. Right now, there's such a quiet confidence at UVA. I'll call it a quiet confidence. I'm not picking a side. I just happen to have coached at both universities at a time that both universities were at a crossroad back in the 80s and 90s. And all of a sudden, so my point being is I still say that the fact that it's a topic of conversation coming out of Virginia Tech at a Board of Visitors meeting. Oh, by the way, the women's basketball coach needs $2 million. Okay. Really? Surprise, surprise. So what? Yes, we understand that. We want to be able to give that to you. So why all of a sudden that comes out of the Board of Visitors meeting? Like WIT saying the football needs $60 million last summer, this time last year, that it became a, topic of conversation outside of the board and between the AD and the board, and the coaches and the board of their programs. I don't hear anything about Virginia basketball coaches or baseball coaches or football coaches or AD having a Board of Visitors conversation of how much money they need. They don't have. They need more. Somehow.
Yeah, it was a little. She was the only coach there too, and I guess maybe the more realization needed to be made. She felt, I don't know. The board seems to have been educated the last year or so on all this stuff, which kind of surprised me a little bit.
You don't have a president, you don't have an AD, and you don't have a guy in charge of the Board of Visitors right now, unless they just inserted one right away. And all of a sudden, and it's, and I get it, bad publicity is better than no publicity, but when you're having these conversations that what you don't have and what you need, and it's okay, well, a lot of instability is my perception. I'm going, wow, let's just keep piling it on. I don't know, maybe when I hear it, Rick, I just go, I don't hear this coming out of UVA. And maybe they don't have it. But if they do have it, They don't have it. It doesn't matter. It's not a topic of conversation with UVA athletics in general.
We've talked about that. It's strange to me. We hear every move that Tech makes. And here's UVA. They had a lot of players they had to get rid of because they left. I mean, their eligibility was done because of the portal. They had to load up again. We're told how great their offensive line is and how Tony Elliott really likes the team. But you don't hear one word. It's weird.
It's all administrative negativity. And the other aspect, and let me throw this out to you. I may be wrong on this, Rick. Like I said, I'm like a dollar for each time I've been wrong. I'd be a very rich man. The governor replaced some board of visitors at Virginia. From my understanding, what I thought I read or saw, there's no big deal about that. Now, I know she went after the rector and fired him, and she created, I've always believed if she never won that election, the board of visitors would never have been touched. And UVA's board of visitors probably would never have been touched to a point. Don't know that, but that'd be my bet. So I guess that's my point. It's like, okay, we get it. You need money. Tell me something I don't know already. I'm not even part of the program anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
great. That solves a lot of problems. The pressure on football, you're going to put it back to football that now they have to win. It's the school's the whole athletic department will crumble if football doesn't win. If football doesn't make that money, well, they better get in the SEC or the Big Ten. Because the ACC, I don't care what they do and how many wins they have. They go to a playoff game, they're not going to have enough money.
No.
Because the ACC is not going to have that contract and TV, and Miami never shared anything for the conference.
It's mind-blowing that was the deal that Jim Phillips came up with. I know.
The only thing I've seen negative come out of Virginia, the only negative right now in Virginia is their fan base. They have an 11-win season. They got to take 2 games and go play one in Charlotte and one in Brazil. I guess it's Brazil, isn't it? Or some place south of the border, south of Mexico. Because it's millions of dollars more money. And those are potentially 1 or 2 home games and maybe none, but for sure one that, hotels, restaurants, people in Charlottesville, they're losing revenue. And so you may be making money, but your community, the people you're asking for the money, you're losing money. If that makes any sense. That's the only negative I've seen come out of UVA's camp. But when I hear this topic of conversation that the women's basketball coach needs $2 million, please tell me something I don't know. And then give me the how you're going to do it and how you're going to get it. If you have to have it and they ain't got it, well, then what that's your excuse for not winning?
A quiet confidence was how I heard UVA was approaching their football program right now. You think there's money that that is a place that, Bud Foster said Virginia Tech doesn't have a lot of billionaires, but they have a lot of millionaires. Well, UVA grads, they have a lot of billionaires too. And you think they're just somehow getting money that we don't hear about from them. I mean, we don't ever hear it.
From what I've heard and not heard, I spoke to some Virginia people. I'm not going to go into who because it's not fair, but
sure,
not about sources either. But and because of the Virginia Tech rivalry, you could take it with a grain of salt. But from my understanding, the money being spent on the roster at Virginia Tech is a whole lot more than UVA's money being spent on the roster. Again, remember what Coach Grantham was saying, which I think is spot on. You have to have value. You have to establish your value. Even though there's not a salary cap, Rick, every university's got to have a salary cap after a while. You only have so much money. You can't print it out. Okay, so if the GM comes into Virginia Tech or UVA, because you have to have a GA, you have to have an NFL guy that understands money value through position, let alone the individual player. But each position is going to demand the quarterback's position, the O-line, the tight end, the corners, the safeties, the linebacker. Every one of those in the NFL will have a demand or a salary value by position. Okay, look at the quarterback salary compared to a Mike linebacker per se. You were close. So you have this then. So I think each program will have a certain cap, through the position and total. Hey, we have $2 million or $1 million. And we ain't going a dollar over. We cannot go a dollar over. So now we've got to do a great job of finding value in the position that kids will, the second, third, fourth, fifth round draft choices. We can't have 20 first round draft choices. Right. There ain't going to be enough money. There's not going to. Alabama doesn't have that money. Okay. Ohio State may have it, but I know Alabama doesn't. Nick was begging for money 4 years ago when the A&M, because A&M got oil money. Alabama doesn't have oil money. They got doctors and lawyers, maybe some technological money. But Texas A&M and SMU and Texas, they got oil money. And I'll bet Ohio State's got technological money. Like I told you either got to be some high-tech money, billionaire money, or oil money. And so I'm going off on a tangent now, but
no.
I think right now when you're looking at rosters of money being spent and money being made, you got to have that under control. And again, coming back to the news coming out of the Board of Visitors that the women's basketball coach needs $2 million, and that's the news coming out of the Board of Visitors meeting. To me, that's like a diversion.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
They're just waiting until finally people are hired. They're just kind of like buying stuff.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, great. And you know what? If you can't, for your major sports, I had a guy at William & Mary, head of the physical education department. He always said, at that time, William & Mary was talking about dropping football back in the 70s. I was there. I was coaching. The Board of Visitors came to vote whether to keep football after a change of presidents. You think presidents are important? David Pascal almost got William & Mary in the ACC as the president. Lou Holtzin had that scheduled. We had an ACC schedule when I was playing there. All of a sudden, he retires, and they bring in Thomas Graves from up north. And that 1 year later, there's a boat coming in to drop football. In 1975, we were told, I was on the road recruiting, he said, call in at 9:00. You're either coming home because we've dropped football.
Wow.
Or go on recruiting. And that's fact. I was on the road with my buddy. We called in. We were sitting in a diner, the old, cell phones, got to a payphone, called in, and they said, keep going. I don't know how many the votes were, but we got restored.
So we're keeping it. We're keeping it now.
I mean, I was in the president. I went through that one. And even
well, I was gonna say, to your point earlier about, I saw this the other day, like last week. This year, when the Big 12 new TV contracts all come in, the ACC is going to be last by $20 to $25 million in revenue behind the Big 12 of the Power Four. That's how bad their TV deal is.
Yeah. So if you think Tech's going to solve it, but if it wins 10 or 11 games or goes to the ACC championship game, if they have one, I'm sure they will next year, but and then gets into the playoffs, they're not going to have enough. The conference by the conference they're in to be in that high stakes poker game. Okay, because I've always said this, Rick. I've always said this, and I believe this. Okay, the athletic directors and the commissioners of each conference, that's all they care about is their schools and their conference. That's all they care about. Okay. And that's okay. They're supposed to. And and it's not just all about football. They want to be able to sustain. They don't want to cut sports. The point I was going to make, that the head of the phys ed department said, as a football coach or the football at school, when you cut tennis or swimming or wrestling, you could be next. And we were at William and Mary. And that's what when you're looking at the Wake Forests and the NC States, or, hell, Virginia Tech for that matter, to a point, outside of Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, the people that they don't need to change anything right now. We like the status quo because we don't have a salary cap, and we've got the money. And we've got the money to support all the other sports.
Well,
your football program is that critical to all the other sports. You better get out of you better get out of that. You can't.
Well,
what consists? You're going to win 11 games every year and be in the playoff every year. Virginia Tech.
No, and that's the goal. Yeah. That's the goal. Sure.
And if you do, and if you're still in the ACC, you're not going to have enough money to support the regular sport, and that's the biggest issue. You look at the SEC and the Big Ten. I don't know how many SEC Big Ten programs have dropped their sports. I don't know. I haven't heard. Which schools are dropping their sports? Yeah. Is it coming out of the Big Ten and the SEC?
Arkansas dropped tennis, but then they got it reinstated pretty quickly. It got dropped, and then 2 weeks later, boosters put it back into play with money they donated.
So if Arkansas does really, really well in football, they could. Hey, if Arkansas is playing for a national championship, guess what? They could add sports.
Well, until you play, it's strange.
What do you want to add? You want rowing? We got some money.
So in a way, this whole thing with Sankey and the SEC trying to stomp their feet and say they don't want 24 teams, when that revenue is shared with everybody else. If they get 5 or 6 teams in the playoff, which they would, that money's coming back to the league. The ACC, which is all on board, unanimous, they want the 24-team playoff. The whole league doesn't even get the money under the current setup. It's going to be whichever teams make the playoff get to keep their money. Yet here they are all for it. That's confusing to me. I don't understand how that works.
Again, look at the baseball. What's the one consistent you think that what you see with the NCAA, with the baseball playoffs, the college playoffs? What do you see consistently? In the uniforms, like basketball. NCAA, you will never see an NCAA patch on a football uniform.
Oh, yeah, the patch, yeah.
Never. Because, and that's what's amazing. The money generated from the playoffs, from the bowls, go directly to the conferences. Not one penny goes to the NCAA. I'm always a firm believer is the NCAA, college football, college football. They don't get one.
Yeah. Well, it's the merry-go-round continues to spin, and everyone talks about doomsday, but boy, everybody just keeps on feeding the pot. So actions speak louder than words. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes.
The word unsustainable comes up all the time. It's a word that's been thrown around, and guess what? A state, you hear from them, or Georgia, or Texas, or A&M, or for that matter, SMU. It's sustainable, for those people. But whatever. But it's a tough time right now with all the money issues. But TV, you better have a great TV contract to be able to survive in your conference, so Wake Forest can get a piece of that pie, Virginia Tech can get a piece of that pie. If Miami's kept all that money, well, guess what? If all of a sudden if you get the trickle down and money gets distributed, well, guess where that's going? It's going to support your total program. you know. I mean, look at all those Power 5 programs that get those money game checks that supports their whole total program. They get a bowl check basically when Coastal Carolina plays South Carolina, or ODU plays Virginia Tech. VMI's not going to get a big check because they can't command that money because they're 1AA.
Right.
But ODU can command a big check. JMU can command a big check from Tech. You want to win, you're going to pay for it because we're a 1A program. So that's another issue. And by the way, not to change your subject, but the Marty and Rags show yesterday, that was a classic.
Yeah, it had a different energy yesterday. I agree. It was
great.
Yeah.
The biggest thing I took from it, Rick, is how if you never did another one, the number one thing is I listened to the whole thing. What people really don't understand is the effect on coach-player relationships.
Yep.
And a two-way street. The player's effect on the coach and the coach's effect on the player in the immediate and 20, 40, 30 years down is so impactful. I never really realized for me, it was just coaching. That's all you were doing. And all of a sudden, over the last, 5 to 8 years, I'm finally starting to realize how impactful. And I always thought it was negative myself. I'm sitting there going, I think I told you, I wouldn't have played for me.
That's right. You did say that. Yeah. Yeah.
But now I'm getting these texts and these calls from players. I got a call from one player I coached at Ferrum back in 1979 and 80. He said, you know what? The 4 things you told me that I teach my children today. Get these words out of your dictionary. Try, can't, free, and easy. Get them out of your dictionary. If they're in your dictionary, get them out, and good things will happen to you. They may not be immediate, but they're going to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, to this day, Coach, that's the number one thing I taught my children today. And that is, I'm going, wow. That's what the show really impacted me, is listening to both of them.
Yeah.
And how much of an impact they both had on me.
Correct. 100% on one another forever, for the rest of their lives. Yep.
So, good job.
Yeah. I just sit there and listen like everybody else. It's great. It's just great. I got an easy job there.
No, it was fun. It was fun to listen to. It was great to listen to.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, Coach. I'm glad you were low into the
New
weather.
River about kicked my ass. I went in there on Friday, 3 hours in that water, and that water was running hard. And I'm 75. The power of that current. I got a walkie stick from a balance. Next thing I know, I'm about halfway across that river because I had a good day Friday. I knocked out about 4 of them, and one fought forever. I looked and turned around and saw where that shoreline was. It took me forever to get back to that damn shoreline. I'm telling you, and it was really it took a lot out of me. I got to drove home Sunday, and when I came in at 8 o'clock Sunday. I slept into about 7:30 midday. So
you knew something wasn't right. Yeah, you knew your body was like, okay, you need to get.
There's no doubt. And going, there's only going to be so many times I'm going to be able to do this. I better start doing this in late August when that water's over.
Right.
Because you had all that rain up there, and it was muddy. It was murky. So that's when you couldn't see. And I knew the river well enough where I fish that there were no holes you're going to fall into and get over your head or fall down. But it was powerful. More than I had 75 years old. It was worth it if I ever go. If I ever go, I want to go with the fly rod.
Go in the current.
That's right. Go down the current. You can pick my body up in Ohio someplace.
Yeah, let the bass feed off of you until they find you, right?
Hey,
you don't mind.
Have at it. Drop my phone in the dick. Oh, it's going to be in the Ohio next year at this time. River, what's the third oldest river in the world, and it flows north.
Yeah, that'll be all. Yeah, that's next year. All right, that'll be cool. Well, Coach, enjoy the rest of your week, man. Appreciate you jumping on.
Well, I appreciate it, Rick. Thank you. You take care. You have a great weekend. Hey, congratulations, man.
Hey, I won't be here next week, so we'll have to resume in a couple of weeks. That's right. Hard to believe. Yeah, honeymoon week next week.
All right, buddy. You take care. Good luck.
Thanks, brother. All right, man. Yeah, thanks, man. We'll be in touch. Thanks, Karen. Coach Elmo, great stuff from him. Glad he's feeling better. Life's better when we're able to have Coach Elmo on with us. Mike Burnett comes up in a little bit. What a way to go, right? The current, just let the current take him down the river. He'd be okay with that, and I believe that. I believe that 100%. I do. I think he would be very happy with that. Good stuff. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Lawson's Mobile Home Supply, the NRV Super Bowl, Sundown Electric, ReadySetFund.com, Professional Door Incorporated, sponsor of our text line, National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner of the show, the attorney Ryan Pry. He's the sponsor of our fan question of the week, and so far we are getting a lot of Rams winners on the trade. We do have more Browns people than I thought. Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. We're presented every day by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Top Shelf Apparel, Brandon, McClellan Chiropractic, and Family Fencing for sponsoring our studio. Good stuff. Float me down the Green River where paradise lays. Old John Prine song. Yeah, I think that's Coach Elmo's. Well, I think that's what he does. That's Coach Elmo's directive right there. Float me down the Green River where paradise lays. I'm glad to hear you had a good day on the water. That's good. You know? Muhlenberg County. Okay. All right. Morrison, between Morris and T-Bird in chat, man, we've got our geographical, the topographic maps that you guys is very helpful. Because, stuff's not easy to keep track of. Good stuff. Always good stuff when this gentleman joins us. He is Mike Burnham, the Hall of Famer. Old number 81 running around out there in this Virginia Tech jersey. What's up, Mike? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Rick. I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing good, man. Hey, we just had Coach Elmo on. It's always puts you in a good mood. So
he's got some stories now.
Man.
St. Elmo.
St. Elmo.
He was the savior. I used to call him the savior.
Yeah. Coach Foster kind of reiterated that to us at the Blacksburg Sports Club, didn't he? I mean, he was the guy, man.
Had to come in and kind of get things shaken up a little bit.
Which, by the way, is what's happening now with James Franklin, and it's all good. As you know, I had a chance, as you have, gotten to go around and get to know him better. You guys are traveling around. I got a chance to kind of do an abbreviated version of that on Thursday, and hearing his explanation of things and how he admits that he's probably rubbing some people the wrong way, which I thought was refreshing. But you know what? He sees something from a different perspective, and he's making a lot of people's awareness kind of come to grips, right? You have to see what was going on and why he's saying the things that he's saying, right?
Well, there's so much stuff that needs to be fixed, changed, upgraded, get into the new century, and he's taking care of that. He understands that. He's an awesome CEO, so organized, so driven, and he needs to know. I mean, he needs everybody to know what's lagging behind here. It's like he says, when a recruit comes here and he's already been to Georgia and he's been to Notre Dame and he's been to Clemson and he sees their facilities and Then you walk into Virginia Tech and you see the Merriman Center, and things need to be upgraded. He said it's just a big disadvantage in terms of recruiting and all that sorts of stuff. You still have to have that wire factor. It's got to look, feel, and smell big time. And right now it hasn't, and it hasn't been for a while. It's like he talked about, he might have mentioned that. It's like,
Yeah.
some of it's really, really good. The indoor facility is great, but it doesn't have heat and air conditioning. It says, you go down, you walk down the hallway 20 feet and you look like you're back in the 1980s. I mean,
Yeah.
so stuff needs to be upgraded, changed, fixed, and get the smell of and look and feel of big time football.
Yeah, he said even if the money's comparable, right? Which was refreshing to me. He talked about that in recruiting, right? If the thing that can put a kid over the top, even if you don't have as much, is if he comes in and sees that this place is supposed to look like it's supposed to look, and the fact he feels like it doesn't right now. So
That's the thing.
Yeah,
Absolutely, that's the thing, and that's why even more so you got to be more impressed with how he's gone about this thing and how he's been able to get the kids from Penn State to come here, the kids that were in the portal to come, and the high school recruiting has gone well. I think they've got 17, I think, commits now already for the class next year, and recruiting is going really, really well in spite of all these things that are lacking. But I think people see the vision, they understand, they know the checklist. There's 80 some things on there that are going to be upgraded, and the future is very, very bright. So I think, he's a good salesman in terms of that, and he's going to get it done. He's one of those guys that they don't mess around, man. Let's get this thing done, and let's get it done sooner than later.
And, at first I thought that, with the fact that they showed that picture last week when what happened with, John Rakovich happened, and those three people with him in the picture are no longer going to be here. At first I thought maybe that would set him aback a little bit, but after meeting him and hearing it, I don't think so. I don't think that he may go, well, okay, maybe that's not what I was expecting, but he's going to have a big say on some of the people that replace the people in that picture. And I think he's at a point where he is in his career. He understands change is inevitable, and that change might lead to some of the things he's talking about that need to be done. So,
yeah, I mean, he's going to be a big part of hiring the athletic director. I mean, those guys have to be in alignment for sure. And I'm sure he'll have a say so in what happens with the president. And, they have to be athletic minded and understand the big picture about how important it is to have that. It's kind of the window of the university. And a lot of that's your football team and your sports. And so I think he gets that. He understands that. He's been around big time football, and he's been at Penn State, and he saw the Michigans and Ohio States and how they do things and how they operate and how much money they have and what they have facility wise and how they do it in recruiting. I mean, he knows all that stuff, and he's trying to bring it here and implement it, and he'll get it done. It's just a matter of time. He's got his people in place, and I think this Hokie Ventures thing is going to go through. I think that's going to be a good thing.
yeah.
It's almost like it's going to be a leg like the Virginia Tech Foundation is to the Virginia Tech University, with the way they fundraise and do all that sort of stuff. So I think that's a plus win-win. And so, yeah, I think the future's really, really bright. Now, you got to translate on the field and get some wins, obviously, and, keep everybody engaged and see that product out there, that it's a good product and that product's going to only get better. And that's certainly a good thing for the future.
And that seems to be, he talked about he's not making a prediction. People say he gets that a lot. How many wins do you expect? Well, I'm not going to limit us, or I'm not going to put that on anybody. But I think that's how he views this first season, just what you're saying, to show people, look what we were able to do here. Look what we can do now as we continue to move forward with all these things that are developing. And I think that it's an understanding that has to be created. And the BOB, when they come in, a lot of those folks are just business people, right? That's not their full-time gig. They don't know. They may not follow it that way. So that education has to be continuous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And, I think when people come around this year and this summer, they're going to see the construction going on. And this fall, they'll see when they're coming here and the recruits come here, the families come here, the people on Team First, that those are the big donors that give a lot of money. They're going to see it and see the improvements. And that's going to be a win-win for everybody. That's going to take some time. I mean, some of the stuff doesn't just happen overnight, but it's taking time. unfortunately, because they are so far behind. But at least it's going to get done. They're on the right track, and James Franklin's got to get it done because he's been there and done that, and he knows what it needs to look like, and he understands the big picture, and he's driven by it. And it's just a matter of time before he gets it all fixed the way he wants it.
Mike Burnip joining us on the program. Thanks to Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster. I think that's a great point, and I think that's the impression I got. He's very adept at the big picture stuff, isn't he? That seems to be his biggest strength. The CEO, you said it, CEO aspect of being the head football coach seems to be very natural to him.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a guy that could probably be the AD too, right? Those days are long gone, but you think about when Bill Dooley was here as the head coach and athletic director. I mean, James Franklin could do that. I mean, that guy's got endless energy, and he's so driven and focused and organized, and he's got his people that do all this stuff around him that answer to him, and he gets stuff done. And that's what you love, and that's what you want to see and appreciate about all he has done and what he's been able to get accomplished in the six and a half months he's been here. It's really been kind of phenomenal.
When do you guys? When you got the Roanoke visit coming up, right? Is that
that's not till July. Yeah, that's
Okay.
July 13th. Yeah, the month of June, they're pretty much tied up in camps and all that sort of stuff. They had a humongous recruiting weekend this past weekend. I had almost 30 recruits in, 26, 28, something like that. Recruits were here. They got some commitments out of that class. And now they got a bunch of camps going on for the month of June. And July is kind of their downtime a little bit. So, yeah, we're going to do that July 13th in Roanoke. And if you're out there listening enough, it's going to sell out. So if people want to go, they need to get tickets early because every one of the other ones have sold out. And I can't tell you how many people have told me that they tried to get tickets to Richmond, Tidewater, Northern Virginia, and they were already sold out. So don't sit on the fence and wait because you'll get left out.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you'll just hear about the event instead of actually being there.
Yeah.
That's good advice. That's good advice to have. I wanted to ask you, I saw yesterday the college football playoff schedule, TV schedule came out. I didn't realize, it looked like to me ESPN has sold off a few of those games. It's split 5-5 between ESPN, ABC, Disney, and TNT. Did you see that? That was curious to me. And, the ESPN has come out. They're very against the 2014 playoff. Is it because they can't afford to carry? I mean, that was interesting to me. They actually sold a couple of those games to TNT or let them take them. That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know all the details about that. I mean, I did see briefly some of that. You'd love to be a fly on the wall and see what goes on and then negotiating with that and how much money they're spending and what's all involved with that. It would probably blow your mind to think about what happens behind closed doors at those places like that. But I mean, Fox wants a chunk of it. I mean, nobody else bid on that college football playoff except ESPN because they had so much at stake before.
Yeah.
But now I think people see the money of that thing, and I think Fox has gotten a lot bigger and more involved in stuff, and they're a big player, obviously. And so, CBS is not going to give up some of the stuff that they've had for years. So it's going to be fun to watch and see what happens with that and how it all plays out.
No, 100%. Do you ultimately believe it's going to settle in at 24 after the 27 season? You think that's where it's headed?
I think so. I think it will pass. I think there's so much good to it. And, so many of these coaches feel like that it gives more teams a shot. I mean, there are not that many 1A teams, right? They're sitting there, whatever it is, 130 or however many it is. And, if you don't make the playoff now, the coach is like he's in trouble. It's all about, it's not like having a winning season, not like winning the conference. It's all about you got to make the college football playoff. And, if you only had 12 teams in there, that's limits you. If you only had 16, I think 24 is a good number. I think there's obviously work to do in terms of when you start the season and what do you do with the bowl games? What do you do with the championship games? All that sort of stuff. But I think that's where it'll end, yes. And I think it'll be money maker for sure.
I agree. And you're right. They have to figure out what's left of the bowls. I mean, sponsors are not going to keep putting money into these bowls if they don't really mean anything at all. And if players keep dropping out, teams that don't make the playoff and players keep on deciding they're not going to play, it just becomes so hard, in my opinion, to try to maintain those. You see the crowd shots of those games. There's no way that the people investing money in it are making the money back, that are sponsoring it. So I think you're right. What are you going to do? It's going to be interesting to me to see once 24 comes, especially just how ridiculous it's going to be to even think you can still have these other bowls. In my opinion.
And you just think about the cities that host them, Rick. I mean, they're counting on stuff that used to be that was their thing. That season is kind of a wasted season after Christmas or, right before Christmas. There's not a lot going on in some of these cities. And people like Shreveport, I mean, they lived by that. They could get an influx of teams. They could get the fans, the restaurants, the hotels in kind of a dead time. And those teams are not going to want to invest a lot in that if you can't get the crowds to come anymore because everybody's indifferent about it. And so, you got to think about those cities that host these things as well, and how much invested are they going to be in it too. So, yeah, it's something that they need to figure out and try to somehow, some way incorporate it into it. I mean, I like the fact that, you should be able to be awarded and have home games in the playoffs.
I do too. I
Yeah.
do too.
Instead of some of this. So, hopefully they can get it figured out. I mean, they're way above our pay scale, brother. I can tell you that.
They are, but yet nobody makes any decisions.
Yeah. That's why the SEC was talking about, hey, we'll just split on our own playoff, right? Let everybody do what they want to do. We'll just play ourselves and make our own TV deal.
So, I would be surprised if they actually believe that. They actually believe that people would be, if everybody else was left out, hey, we could have our own well, here's the SEC championship trophy for for our own tournament. Wouldn't surprise me.
It's like back in the day when they had the last 2 or 3 teams, people just took a vote who the national champion was, right?
Yeah.
So you had split votes all the time. It's like, well, Notre Dame got this many votes, Georgia Tech got this many.
I know.
Co-national champions or whatever.
How long did that stay in place? That was crazy how that was just accepted for all those decades, right?
I know. Yeah, and then you think about the Sugar Bowl when Virginia Tech was in there, it was just 2 teams, right? You had Virginia Tech and Florida State. So things have continued to evolve and change, and it'll be that way till we are passed out, I'm sure.
No, you're right. You're exactly right. Thanks again to Louise Baker, the Louise Baker team, Long and Foster. Mike, I ask you one more thing here because I get so many questions. All right. So your tuna tips and gator bites have become one of the hottest topics in chat. It's crazy. Since you brought this up, I think we did your show from when you're at your Florida home down at the beach. So can we get more and more information about how you prepare them? What's the best way to do it? People are asking me to ask you, so I'm passing it along to the guru of tuna tips and gator bites.
Well, you can get them like several ways. Like the blackened ones are really, really good. Now, some people like the fried, like alligator bites, because it takes a little bit out of the gamey taste of it. But a lot of people like them blackened. And then the tuna, is really like a quick sear. I mean, you keep those things. I remember Outback Steakhouse used to have that thing. It was like ahi tuna. And they'd get the outside of it would be really, really quickly seared, but the inside would be almost like it was raw, but it was so tender. And you have the sauces make a big difference.
Yeah.
Like the boom boom sauce, they call it, or the jambalaya, or sometimes they call it different stuff. But yeah, the best way to cook the tuna is just to cook it quick. I mean, get that skillet, pan, whatever hot as you can get it, and put a little butter on top and maybe olive oil and some blackened seasoning and just turn them on there. I mean, literally, you're not on there a minute, maybe on a side, depending on how thick they are. And you can get it kind of like with a little bit of a crust like a good steak has on the outside, and then flip it over, take it off, and then you can cut them with a fork. And they are delicious, I'm telling you.
So the boom boom sauce is what you would recommend for the
well, people call it different things, but yeah, a lot of it's got a lot of spices in it. Sometimes usually there's always 2 or 3 spices you get with these things. And so, it just depends on where you go and the restaurant you go to. But yeah, some of it has like a kind of a smooth sauce. Some of it has like an oily kind of olive oil kind of a taste made with spices. So yeah, it just depends. But it's all about the cooking. You don't want to overcook tuna because then it gets a
Yeah.
little bit tough on you. It's got to be kind of like red in the middle.
Morris says, Mike with his chef hat on. I'm in. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've been one of the guys asking more. Morris lives in Florida too. So
Yeah.
that's why he's asking. So
I mean, sometimes you go to the grocery stores around here. I'll go to like places and I'll buy those tunas that are they're frozen, and you get these little tuna steaks that are 4 or 5 ounces.
yeah.
You can get those things and just put them in a skillet on the stove with some olive oil, garlic, and all kinds of spices and some butter. Throw them in there on a hot skillet with the top on it. Throw it in there for about a minute, maybe even not even that much, depending on how thick it is. Flip it over real quick, and you pull that thing out, and the outside's kind of seared, and the inside's really, really tender. Oh, that is really, really good stuff.
All right. Well, that's good. Peeps, writing this down, I hope. You're writing all this down.
The smoked tuna dip, if you ever go anywhere and get that, that's good stuff too now.
Okay.
Smoked tuna dip with Triscuits and wheat thins and multi-grain crackers. So those things are great.
Yeah, sounds like it, man. When are you going back down to Florida? When you heading back down to your...
Week of the 4th of July. I'm leaving July 2nd, I think it is. Because the 4th is on a Saturday this year. So I'm going to go down the 2nd and spend a week down there then.
Good.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I bet you are. Well, we won't be here next week. I'll be on my honeymoon, which is hard to believe I'm making that sentence, but I will
Where are you heading? Where's the honeymoon going to be?
Yeah, I see. You've probably been there. Emerald Island.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That'd be awesome.
Lots of people have told me it's a nice spot. Even I think Bud Foster even mentioned it was a nice spot. So people seem to like it. It's a little more, I won't say secluded, but it's a lot more, it's nothing like Myrtle Beach, what's happened there. So
yeah. Well, I bet you'll find a restaurant that'll have some tuna tips, I bet.
I'm going to look. That's what that's the first thing I'm going to look for. Yeah. If I do, I'll send you a picture.
Well, that'd be great. Well, congratulations on that. And yeah, next weekend I'm going down to see BA, Bruce Arians, down at Lake Oconee. So that'll be fun.
Oh, my goodness
gracious.
gracious.
They're having their 55th wedding anniversary.
Wow, really?
Big party. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, tell him we said congrats here on the program. That's awesome. That is awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
As is Louise Baker. She's awesome.
She's the best. Louise is awesome. Yeah, we love Louise. And next time you see her, give her a big hug. Tell her hello.
I will.
Look forward to
get her
seeing
some tuna tips.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll see her real soon. You know, it's so funny, Rick, the Lane Lounge, where we do our radio show in the pregame, that's sold out. All the clubs are sold out.
Good.
Well, I'm telling you, it's going to be a fun fall. Just watching those crowds filing Lane Stadium and the excitement around the football team. But we hope to see Louise. Maybe she'll slide in
what you just said a minute ago. I can only imagine. Yeah. I was just thinking what you said a minute ago about. Can you imagine Tech hosting a playoff game? Wow.
Oh my gosh, that would be unreal. Yeah, you might want to bring your parka. might get a little nippy that time of year.
But the excitement already, can you imagine if they're actually hosting a first round? Oh, my goodness gracious. Wow.
Well,
this place would go nuts.
I think it'll be just a matter of time before that happens.
Yeah, once it goes to 24. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, man, have a great rest of the week, and we'll try to connect here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, sounds good. You just keep me posted, and have a great time on your honeymoon. Congratulations.
Thanks, brother.
And, maybe I'll crash your wedding and get that reception.
Yeah, come on down. Come on down. Everyone's invited. And you got to be at our bash too. We're going to do that later in the summer too, the Super Bowl. So
heck yeah. I'll pick up Elmo and we'll slide by.
Yeah, he's coming by. Elmo's going to be at the bash, so he's asking you to be there too. So
sounds like a plan.
Yeah. Jen's going to be there, so we're going to work on getting a lot of the crew there. So
awesome. That'd be good.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Keep me posted.
Yeah, I will, man. Have a great week. Appreciate you,
brother.
Rick,
you too. Congratulations.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
See you now.
Mike Burnup. There you go. The Hall of Famer, the legend. There's very few people that you can see that represent Virginia Tech athletics and football more than Mike Burnup. Great stuff from Mike. Mike's the best. So there you go. Tuna tip and Gator Bite people. You now have full throttle information. Morris says, stop, Mike. I just gained 5 pounds listening to you. Well, no, I think it's probably pretty healthy, Mike has said. The tuna tips, I don't think you're going to gain a lot of weight. But I like the fact you cook them quickly. Like that's important, Mike. You know, you don't want, that's pretty cool because it makes sense. But if you're hungry, you don't have to wait too long for them. So good stuff. I told you I'd ask him, and I told you he would answer. I told you. So everybody should have it down now. And now he's right. I'm going to definitely look for stuff like that. I would think that would be on a menu somewhere over there at the coast. Never been there. Thanks, everybody who's been to Emerald. I'm getting a lot of professional door text messages. That's really cool. Thank you. Telling me that they really, really enjoyed their time at Emerald Island. That's awesome. Fish is very healthy. It is. I'm a big. We have it. We have it quite often. Cod and tilapia, whatever it is, flounder. I mean, it all has kind of a little different flavor, but I'm with you. Fish is good for you. It's good and good for you. I mean, I was basically raised on it. We'd go fishing, and Dad would clean. We'd have the red eye and the bluegill, and sometimes you'd have some bass. Most of the time it was red eye, though. Called them rock bass. Crappie was really good. No, Wayne, that's not. No, I'm not. I'm not cooking it. Well, by the way, let me show you Keon Brown. Did I keep it? Keon Brown is my brother for several reasons. He says, doing my best Rick Watson impression. Look what Keon made yesterday. Oh, look at that. Folks, that is as medium rare, as perfect as it can be. It's a picture that I'm showing you is not doing it justice. I should have downloaded it. KB getting it done and getting it done right. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah. Sorry, I'm answering somebody now. All right. Put fish in a Panera brick bat. No. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do what Mike suggests. I'm going to do that tuna thing. I've never had tuna like that. Yeah, still need some tweaks on Victory from the Tunnel. Yeah, KB being a gourmet, I was like, dude, you show me that picture and I can't eat any of it. That looked great, man. And I appreciate it, too, because he followed up and said, yeah, I keep listening to you talk about food, all these things. And he said, I thought about medium rare. I had to make sure I got it medium rare. And he said, it was right. Medium rare is the only way to go. And I think he's a new member of the medium rare family. He'll be with us tomorrow. We'll talk about his food. And we'll talk about the NBA Finals with KB. He's out of school now. He's out of one part of school. He's got summer school coming up, but I think he can take a deep breath. So good stuff. Great stuff. Thanks again to Louise Baker. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Fun day today. Tomorrow, I know KB's here. Damien will be here. Todd Grantham. And I'm hoping I can get David Teal back on, talk about the BOV more and progress on what he's heard around the hires and so forth. Carolina being the only team surviving in the ACC baseball tournament, the playoff schedule. I thought that was very interesting. And I saw people saying, now I haven't looked into it, but people were saying that ESPN had 7 games and now they only have 5, which means their conclusion is they sold the rights to 2 of those playoff games. And that, to me, tells me a little bit into why they're saying they don't want to go to 24, because they know other networks are going to be the ones that are going to be airing those games. And they're going to be kind of the secondary network. And boy, they don't want that, right? They're supposed to be the college football partner. The college football playoff partner is ESPN. Well, it's interesting. Panera's already catering Rick's nuptials. No, they did not fall under consideration. Let's see if people can figure out who we picked locally to cater the nuptials. Maybe that'll be our BDST fan question of the week, because the one we asked is 13-4 now in favor of the Rams winning the Myles Garrett trade. I can't believe the Browns got 4. And I told you, first article I saw on X, oh, the Browns won this easily. No. What? No. Stop with the cope. They did not give up the best player in football and win the trade. No, not Bojangles. I wouldn't have gotten away with that one. God, I love Bojangles. No, not a mega fan. Be honest with you, Brandon. 13-4 sounds like a typical Brown score. That's true. I like that. That's where we are right now. 17 votes are in. Well, it's more than that because I saw three people posted, so it's really like 16-4. So the Browns just had a field goal kicked against them. All right, good stuff. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow on the Hump Day Wednesday edition as we roll on. Please subscribe, like, and share the channel. It's important to go back and like the videos. I get a lot of recognition for that. It helps with the channel. But thank you for helping us crush our viewing meters every week. Every week. It's amazing. We continue to grow. Got some great things happening. We're just trying to build, man. We're just trying to replicate what James Franklin knows he has to do in Blacksburg. That's all. Take care, everybody. Thanks for everything. We'll see you tomorrow here on the program.